बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। नाज़रीन, डॉक्टर मोहम्मद एजाज संत स्पेशल टीवी के प्रोग्राम छुपे खजाने में हिडन ट्रेजर में आपको खुश आमदीद कहते हैं। नाज़रीन, आज का प्रोग्राम जो हमारा है वो इंग्लिश में होगा। वी हैव अ गेस्ट फ्राम अमेरिका। शी हैज़ अ डिस्टिंक्टिव प्रॉपर्टीज़ with respect to education, with respect to her experience, with respect to agriculture background, business, and last one, the space technologies. So we will have a interesting conversation with her. So I welcome Miss Alison Reno here in Pakistan and at studio also.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. How do you feel about, first of all, it is your first visit in Pakistan or before that you came here?
Actually, this is my fourth visit to Pakistan in 5 months.
In 5 months?
Yes, and I travel the world doing work and keynote speaking, and I find that my heart brings me back here over and over again because of the people.
That means you like Pakistan or Pakistanis?
No, I don't like Pakistan. I love Pakistan.
Thank you. That's great. So first, tell about your education background, what you have done.
What I'd like to share first is how I came to Pakistan.
Yeah.
It's because of education.
Right.
There was a little boy in Karachi who he was a stranger who reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and asked me to do an interview, live interview. And this little boy was only 11 years old, and I thought, why not? You know, because kids are so important to me. I have 11 children of my own.
MashaAllah, that's great.
9 daughters and 2 sons, and I value children. They're very, very amazing. Sometimes we underestimate what they can do. So I gave this young man an interview, and he was very organized. He sent me all the questions in advance. He was on time, and he also did something very difficult. He did the interview in English, which is his second language, and I was very impressed. And suddenly it went from him to his classmates, to his teachers, to more adults around Pakistan, and I found myself doing 4 to 5 interviews a day. I was skipping work and spending time with the Pakistanis because they were so warm and welcoming and etc. And so a businessman named Rayhan Alawala contacted me and said, why are you giving all these children interviews and all of your precious time to them? I said, because I believe children are just as important as adults. And he said, well, these are some very underserved children in Karachi, very. And I said, I don't care. You know, I came from the same background. It's not, you know, where you start, it's where you finish. And he invited me to Pakistan. And I had the privilege of coming to his school and meeting that little boy. And so that's how it all started, was through a young child. Yes.
So what do you have experience with respect to Rehan Allahwala and those children who are working there in Karachi?
He has a school that specializes in customizing the purpose of each child. You know, there's a quote that I love to say that's from an American author, and the quote is, the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And he tries to find out the why. Why in each child, so that they can be on a course to fulfill their purpose, what God designed them to do in life. And he specializes every child in this. And he gives each child a phone and a laptop and encourages them to reach out to the whole world. And so I think this is a magnificent job that he's doing.
Yeah, he preferred to explore basically the world, the people, and especially he guided the children how to communicate with others and how you can learn with communication process.
Yes.
So communication is an important process for learning purpose. So what do you think about the knowledge creation in generally, how knowledge can be created in these children's and how they can be benefited from them?
Well, when I was growing up, we didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. And so the speed of knowledge transfer was slow. And therefore our critical thinking skills and our contact with the outside world was limited. But now with technology, the children are able to interact with human beings all over the world, all ages, all backgrounds, and they are, and I notice even my own children, they're growing up faster, they're learning more, they can do a lot at an early age. They don't have to wait till they're 25 or 30 to accomplish great things.
I do agree with you. In previous once we were students in early age, there was no communication system. Even the telephone was not as easy as nowadays.
That's right.
You have to write letters outside Word, and then after few months you get back the answer. Even with respect to the libraries, education systems, the same process was there, but now it is a global village.
I
Through
think
internet.
it's terrific when I have a question, I don't have to go to a library to get the answer.
Hmm.
I can Google immediately and,
Right.
and gain knowledge quickly.
Quickly.
Yes.
That is a major advantage,
Yes.
and speed up of process also.
Yes.
Even research nowadays is fast as compared to the previous.
Yes.
You have to go through different articles, search the articles, but now it's very easy.
You can be a quick study on
Quick
anything.
study. What's your education?
Well, to be honest with you, I promised myself, I dropped out of college, out of university to get married when I was young. And I always promised myself after my first child was born that I would go back and finish.
Right.
But then there was 2 and then 3 and 4, 5, 6. They came one after the other until there were 11. But as soon as that 11th one turned 4 years old, I said, I'm going to do what I promised myself.
Right.
So I went to get my bachelor's degree at 48. And then at 50, I'm thinking, what's next?
Right.
And I'm a runner. So every morning I'm running, 3 to 5 kilometers. And it really came to me on this morning run in January of 2012 that I should get my master's at Harvard. And sometimes, God has divine plans for us. And when they come in our heart, it's difficult to shake it. You can't let it go. And even if you try to bury it, it just keeps popping back up.
Right.
And often those messages are, I think, impossible dreams. Impossible for me because I had 7 children still at home. I didn't have the money to go there. I didn't have the prestigious background in my mind. And fourth, it was over 2,000 kilometers just one way. How do you do that? But I did visit the campus and met with the dean. And the dean was a woman.
Right.
And I told her all the reasons why I couldn't do Harvard. And she said, you will find a way. You will find a way to fly here every single week, and you will get this degree because this master's degree will change your life.
Right.
And it was, it's teachers like you, mentors that come in our life just when we're going to quit, that pat us on the back and say, you can do it. And I ended up receiving a scholarship
Right.
that paid for my airfare every week for 3.5 years,
That's
my
great.
tuition, my books, one-night hotel, because I'd fly in one day, 8 hours flight, take all my classes, and fly back early the next
8
morning
hours.
because I was working full-time and raising the children. And so it was just a matter of time management at that point, and ended up graduating in 2016 with my master's in international relations, with all of my research on NASA and our U.S. space program.
That's great. We will discuss later on about this
We can
space
do that.
program. First, your interest and with respect to the international relation, master in international, that's a great achievement at the age which you did. And the
I didn't
hard work.
graduate till I was 55 years old. And it just
You don't
proves
look
that
like it.
I graduated at 55. I'm older now. But it just proves that it's never too late for the dreams that are in your heart.
I have one, my student, PhD student, he is 68 years old.
I'm catching him.
Okay. After your graduation, what you did?
I had a professor, again, that really encouraged me to pursue space. And I thought, what do I have to offer with international relations? And she said everything, because we have plenty of engineers and scientists. What we need is someone who can gather the world together, can partner with our space partners to do these projects that NASA does. And she said, Allison, you need to attend International Space University. I said, what's that? She said, it's a NASA-sponsored school where students come from all over the world, space professionals,
Right.
not students. And they're together for 10 weeks in a postgraduate program, kind of a postmaster's program from different space agencies.
Right.
And we learn everything there is to know about space.
Right.
How to build rockets, science, space policy and law, business, etc. And when you graduate, you have been totally immersed in
That's
all
great.
things space and made friends, 120 friends from all over the world. And we remain friends.
Right.
And it's held at a different location around the world each year.
Okay, with respect to space program,
Yes.
I am also aeronautical and aerospace engineer.
Yes.
So I have worked Pakistan space program. I have worked on France space program also, CNES, that is their space agency.
I have been there.
Right. I was taught by astronauts like Neil Armstrong.
Yes,
So it's an interesting area.
it is.
But with respect to your qualification, IR and the space, those are different things.
Mhm.
What do you think? How you can match those things?
First thing is space is for everyone.
Yes.
Because we are doing impossible things, we need minds from all different
Right.
areas. And I had the privilege.
Multidimensional.
I had the privilege of working at NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And we have 10 different branches around the country, our country, that specialize in launch or mission control or astronaut training or building the rockets. But NASA headquarters is the governing body that gives policy and direction to each one of those NASA centers. And I worked in the Office of International Relations.
Right.
And I watched our space partners come in constantly from all over the world, or communicating with them weekly. Russia, Japan, European Space Agency, CNES, France, German Space Agency, UK, Canadian Space Agency. And I began to see how it takes everyone working together in spite of geopolitical tensions. If we don't stick together and work above those that someone's going to die on the International Space Station if we don't put aside our differences. And so I watch people from all backgrounds, all religions, all colors, all genders, put aside all this, and I saw this space family work together. And it was, our job at International Relations Department to make sure there was good relationships, shaking hands, going to dinner. Building strong bonds so that our astronauts and our space science exploration that we do succeeds and doesn't fail.
Yeah, there is a special training program for astronauts. First of all, at zero gravity.
Yes.
How they can use the zero gravity for their own purpose, first of all. How they can live there.
Yes.
So that is a special program in NASA, the training programs. Everyone don't convert to astronauts. So what are the special qualities there?
Well, I think the important thing is they train, as you know, underwater, where it's the same concept of not having any air to breathe and being weightless. And some of my astronaut friends actually lived in the ocean, way under the ocean in a small building, taking spacewalks outside to practice for the being in space, because space is hostile to human beings. And so this training, underwater training they do is critical in every way to prepare them to be successful when they're doing missions in space.
It depends upon the length of the mission also.
Yes.
Okay, how many days you have to live in the space.
Yes.
Sometime longer period, sometime shorter period. For few days you go there and you come back. They have a different experience with respect to that, which they shared during my education also. Astronauts, of course, the mission was moon mission. Now again America is planning after so long time period moon mission.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
In fact, that was 100% of my research at Harvard. At the time when I was there, NASA was focused on going to Mars first. And for me, it just didn't seem practical. But I decided my research would be called Moon or Mars. What is the next logical step for NASA?
Right.
And I spent 3.5 years interviewing space experts, astronauts, moonwalkers, all kinds of people in industry as well, to see what is the best journey for NASA to get to Mars eventually. And my research proved we should go to the moon first. And when I graduated from Harvard, I was contacted by a publisher in New York City to turn my thesis research into a book.
Right.
And that book fell into the hands of a friend of mine who served in Congress, in the U.S. Congress. And he said, "This is your research at Harvard?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "It makes total sense." And he looked at it and read about it, and he ended up being appointed as the director of NASA.
Right.
So I'm not saying I directly had any, directly changed the course of NASA,
Right.
but I did have some influence on our course to go back to the moon first. And when Donald Trump came into office, he really revived NASA. It was sort of laying on its side asleep. And there's been such a resurrection and a renaissance
Right.
in NASA. And we have, America is interesting. America just kind of relaxes until they have competitors.
Right.
And then they wake up and they decide, oh, we better compete. So I think they see China as a rival.
Yeah.
I see everyone as human beings, but government to government, they see it as a rival, and so I think they awakened and decided they better start hustling and getting back into space exploration on the moon and beyond.
Initially, they were competing with Russia, and
Yes.
nowadays they are thinking to compete with China.
Yes.
Or China is competing with US.
And you know what? They're moving forward quickly, and they're doing a great job. It's impressive.
That's good. So, with respect to, again, the space program, there are different areas in space programs. One is the rocket launcher,
Yes.
which take you in the space.
Yes.
Space shuttle is another way, right?
Yes.
Which one you work for, both collaboration purposes or?
Well, I'm a part of a company. I'm on the board of advisors. I think you may have noticed a week and a half ago, there was a private spacecraft that landed on the moon for the first time. Historically speaking, it had never been done, where a spacecraft that was non-government
Non-government.
successfully landed.
Is it public-private partnership or pure private?
I'll explain. NASA has a program called CLPS, Commercial Lunar. It's where they become a partner, and they actually they donate a little bit of money to the private sector to different companies
Right.
to encourage private lunar economy. And so,
Of course, space program is a costly program. It's not
and so
an easy job.
they're always encouraging the private sector to do more. And so my project is a company called Lone Star Data Holdings. I'm on the board of advisors from its inception, and our payload was on that spacecraft that landed on the moon successfully. And
Right.
even though it tipped a little bit, everything we wanted to accomplish happened. And our goal is off-Earth data storage and edge processing, having a server on the moon. And we were able to transmit our U.S. Declaration of Independence
Right.
back and forth, as well as Constitution and our Bill of Rights. And so it's proved the technology test was successful. And now we'll go back again and land in late 2024 again.
Right. That's great. So that means that they have developed a policy with respect to public-private partnership.
Yes.
How they can get benefit from private sector for the production of spacecrafts and moon mission or other missions.
This was President Obama that actually opened the door for public-private
Private.
partnership and did a beautiful job of encouraging the private sector, SpaceX, to kind of took the shackles off and let him run.
When I was working in Pakistan space program, I also tried this to introduce public-private partnership, but the management was not agreed for that purpose.
It took a long time in the United States as
Yeah.
well
It will take time.
the government to allow private people to actually go into space. They kind of wanted to keep that dominion, as theirs.
That's great. Okay, other than space program, your personal life, what do you think? Is it successful?
Is my personal life successful? Well, I think every life has ups and downs, and certainly my life has not been a fairy tale. And even though now everything is great in my life, there was a time where I actually hit bottom. In about every category you can, my health hit the bottom, financially it was on the bottom for a long time.
Right.
Maybe even mental health struggled because of these problems that I had. But, I began to pray. I began to look at why was I in this position instead of blaming other people. I looked at myself. And the reason I was there was because of really a lack of education, a lack of following the dreams that were in my heart. And I decided at 50,
Right.
this has to change. And for me, it was getting my education that took me from here to here. Because once I graduated, the doors began to open all over the world. And I'm now living a life I never dreamed of. And I am thankful every day.
That's great.
Really, I am.
Right. Now it's break time, so we will come back after break. नाज़रीन ब्रेक का टाइम हो गया. ब्रेक के बाद वापस आके हम प्रोग्राम का यहीं से. Okay, Miss Ellison. How many places you have visited in Pakistan?
Not enough.
Not enough.
But give me some time. I've been to Islamabad, Peshawar, Lahore, Sahiwal, and Karachi.
Sahiwal.
I've spent significant time in each
Right.
place, and had their, each place has its own identity, its own food, its own culture, and I've loved learning about each place.
Right. What was your experience in Peshawar?
Peshawar, I had the special barbecue that
Right.
they only do in Peshawar. It was great, and a businessman invited me there.
Charsi Tikka?
Pardon?
Charsi Tikka?
I think so. And then he took me, drove me up near to the Turkmen border, all the way
Turkmen
up
border,
into the northwest area, and I got to see the mountains. I got to see the, peer over into Afghanistan, and it was just fascinating going up into that area. So,
Right.
Peshawar for me was magical.
Right. That's great. And what about Sahiwal?
Sahiwal, charming city with very loving people, good food. One of my favorite things is my friends would take me food hopping. We call it food hopping. I don't know if
Right.
that's what you call it, but that's what I call it. We just get in the car and we drive from one spot to the next until we can't fit any more in our stomach. And so, had everything that night. It was so fun.
Do you know how the popularity of Sahiwal?
No.
The famous
No.
milk,
Really?
dairy products. Yeah.
Well, I had the best ice cream there. I'll
We
tell you
had
that.
one of the best cow production system in Sahiwal,
Okay.
buffalo and cow. And those were exported to Australia, and then Australia has their own breed from them,
Okay.
and their production system is very good. But now that production system is not so good in Pakistan, but Australia they have too good. Almost 48 kg per animal production system.
Amazing. Well, I have to say, every time I eat yogurt here, it's the best yogurt I've ever had from anywhere I get it in Pakistan.
Right. What about Karachi?
What about Karachi? I was there in October for 2 weeks, and it was warm, and it was humid, and I'm a runner. So it was hot, and I was sweaty. But of course, the time I was there, I was visiting.
You did jogging at seaside?
I didn't. I wanted to, but I did not. But I was able to go to a lot of schools. I was able to go to the National Aerospace and Technology Park and meet with the leadership there.
That is in Islamabad.
Yes, and I hope to go there as well. I just and then of course I was hosted by so many people for dinner, and went to Rayhan's Alawalla's home,
Rayhan
met his
Alawala.
family, and I think it was the most fun was his wife took me shopping for my first Pakistani clothes.
Right.
and we had lots of fun together.
That's great. We have developed a national incubation center at Aerospace Technologies at that place which you have visited,
Yes.
Aerospace Park. That is the one for incubation purpose for the students. They can learn aerospace technologies,
Yes.
and then they can start their own business.
Yes.
Incubation is for their business purpose. Startups. So what do you think how you can compare these startups, venture capital with respect to America and Pakistan?
Incubators are worldwide,
Hmm.
and incubators are like when I have a baby.
Yes.
It has to be in a safe place, growing, encouraged,
We have to
nurtured.
take care
It's
for
to be
first
fed.
few-
It has to be fed knowledge, fed marketing, strategies, and encouragement, and graphics, and branding, and all these things, and looking for partners, business partners for everyone. And I think it's critical. And the world is shifting to entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So that people can.
Quickly.
They're not wanting to do. A lot of kids don't want to do just the standard 8 to 5 job that their parents did. Show up at a certain time, finish at a certain time, and they do this their whole life. They want to fulfill their purpose, and they're not scared to try. It's impressive. So it's like I said, this is a worldwide system that's developed, and I'm part of the World Business Angels Investment Forum, where we like to, and we're partners with Pakistan, by the way.
Right. But with respect to America,
Yes.
they have these venture capitalists, business angels, though they put their funds for the newcomers.
Yes.
But in Pakistan, it's not so easy.
Yes. I'll be honest, it's not easy in US either. It's very competitive. And there's so many people trying to get the VC funds from people. So you can't imagine how difficult it was for us just to raise money to do that spacecraft, that payload to the moon. How much time it took and work and energy to get some funding.
With respect to that payload, we used to say that if you want to put 1 kg in space, that cost you almost a $1 billion.
It's expensive and
it's expensive.
But for me, I have several businesses myself, and all my businesses I started with no money. You know, I was a woman where they didn't in my time. They never gave a woman money. But if you have a dream and you want to accomplish that dream, you can start with almost nothing. You can. I began everything with nothing. For instance, real estate business. I wanted to flip homes, remodel, sell. But I couldn't go to the bank to get a bank loan. So I found a friend who had a home that he wanted to liquidate quickly because he wasn't able to rent it. And I said, if I redecorate this home and hire subcontractors and I'm the general contractor and make it beautiful for you, and then we sell it, will you split the profit with me? And he said yes, and that's how I began. So sometimes you just start.
That means you use your brain.
You start with your hands.
Other will use capital.
Yes, I think there's a saying that don't let what you can't do interfere with what you can do. My gymnastics business, 23 years now.
Right.
You know, gymnastics like you see on television, like Olympic gymnastics, very quality.
When you started gymnastics?
550 gymnasts training right now at Victory Gymnastics in Oklahoma. I started with one gymnast in my backyard. I started with nothing. And little by little, people will see that you have a skill and they'll want to invest in it. And so there were always people that came forward that
they help you.
But I never had to take a bank loan. Because sometimes you just have to do what you can do, the best you can do with what you have, and not worry about what you don't have.
Right, that's great. Again, we will come back to business incubation process. Last year, I almost engaged in 100 business incubation centers. Only I could find 3 successful out of 100. The reason behind that is, first of all, their feasibility study is important.
Okay.
Most of the time, the student does not know how to develop this feasibility study because the success rate depends upon the feasibility study.
The market analysis, yes. You talk about the market analysis and
market analysis.
Well, it's important that you know your customer.
Yes, that's important.
For instance, my gymnastics program was in a certain place for a few years, and then I noticed the crime was increasing in the area. And when crime increases, you know that parents aren't want to bring their children. So it quickly adapted and moved it, 12 kilometers away from there and started over in a new area. I think you have to be adaptable. You have to know your demographics. You have to know the market. That's the most important thing. And I think some people get when they have a business, they get stuck, they fall in love with this business, and it becomes almost like a child, and they don't want to pivot or make changes, and they force it. And you can't force the market. Either the market loves you or it doesn't. And it's up to us to change and to adapt. So I think what you're saying is very important.
Yeah. So that's why we first did that. We selected 100 people. For that purpose, they have to pitch the idea first of all. Yes. Only the idea, nothing else. Out of those, we selected 10, and then we put those 10 in incubation center.
Good.
So in a process way, each year we introduced few more for business incubation processes. And even then, out of, for example, if in one business incubation we selected 25, but at the end of the year, only 2 or 1 successful. Rest are not successful. But that does not mean if they are not successful, their future is dark.
No, it's not true. And I think I've learned more from losing than I have from winning.
Yes.
Because when you lose, or you didn't get chosen, or you lost the gold medal in the gymnastics meet, you become a better coach, or you become a better businesswoman. you learn from losing.
Other doors are open.
So I think it teaches you to be a better person, a better businessman. All these people that didn't make it probably went back home and either they quit or they said, how do I need to change?
Yeah.
So for me, losing has been the most valuable thing. And
Yes.
criticism.
That provide another opportunity, basically.
And criticism from customers. You have to listen to the criticism of your customers. Because they're your best friends. They're telling you why this is wrong, how you can be better. You can't take it personal.
They highlight your gray areas, basically.
Yeah, they're like your grade card from the professor.
You don't like gray areas, but actually the gray areas are important. From gray areas you learn what are your mistakes and how you can remove those mistakes, how you can eliminate those mistakes for a successful women or businessmen.
You're right.
So these are important in a learning process. How knowledge can be created?
How can knowledge be created? Creativity comes from need.
Yes, first of all, need assessment.
Yes, and what they say that invention is comes from something that someone needs. And I noticed, for instance, putting the data processor on the moon and storing that on the moon. We know at some point there's going to be a lunar economy. There's going to be astronauts up there from America living and working there, and we want to be one step ahead on this. And so it's a knowledge creation, right? I noticed in my gymnastics program, 10, 15 years ago, the parents wanted the children to train 4 to 6 hours a day. They were die-hard. That was our society back then. The society has become more relaxed. They want to spend more time at home with their families. The mothers are working. So now I had to adjust to where some of the children only train maybe 1.5 to 2 hours a night, maybe only twice a week.
Right. It depends upon individuals also.
You really have to watch society and watch the trends. And you have to adapt and change constantly, or your business will die. We've seen many great businesses worldwide that forgot this concept.
One important thing which I used to, while teaching, give example of as you are a mother of 11 children.
With one man.
With one man. So, what is the process of learning process of a baby? That is very much interesting, important. From age of 1 day till 1 year, there are different learning processes are there. The most important, as initial few months, the process is only observation, right? Whatever you do, whatever your family is doing, whatever environment is doing, that baby learn from that area. But in general life, it is important also. We learn from environment, right? You are visiting here and there, that means your learning is now increasing.
Yes.
Right. You know now in Pakistan, for example, in Peshawar what's going on, in Lahore what's going on, in Karachi, Sahiwal, Rawalpindi. But you have not yet visited northern areas.
I'm going in April.
April.
I'm going camping in the mountains.
Beautiful area, northern area, all northern area.
I can't wait.
So I will advise you visit there.
I am.
That is another learning process.
I think we have to be lifelong learners. And you can never
Out
stop
of
learning.
top 6 highest mountains, 5 are in Pakistan.
Amazing. I can't wait to see it. And to run outside in the fresh air like this.
Fresh air.
It's going to be great.
So what are your future plans?
My future plans, one that I'm very excited about is, I think you may have known I went to the Amazon rainforest and delivered SpaceX Starlink internet at the request of the chief of the tribes, one of the most powerful chiefs. They wanted internet there, and so I was able to go into the jungle and walk 50 kilometers one way to the first village with snakes and spiders and rivers and so much danger. This was exciting because the chief wanted it. I said, why do you want internet? It can ruin your beautiful primitive lifestyle that you have. I don't want it to change. And he said, we need it for communication. We can't talk to anybody. It's all like you said, walking 2 or 3 days to the next village with a question and then walking back 2 or 3 days with the answer. And so technology speeds things up. Second, we have no health care. We want some telemedicine for our especially our women. And third, we have no education for the children. So we wanted to do at least class 1 through 4 with them. And last is, I think probably most important, is illegal invaders. There's so many illegal invaders destroying the rainforest, which is incredibly biodiverse, and it's like the lungs, the breathing lungs of our whole planet. And they're stripping the land of the trees. You can't imagine how much. They're poisoning the rivers through the mining and leaving all the chemicals in the river. And people are, a lot of tribes, children are dying, women, children, and they wanted to be able to alert the government. So I said, yes, I will find a way. And made that journey. And I'm going back. They just invited me a couple of days ago, more chiefs, more tribes, please come back. And so I'll be going, wow, I think I leave in a month from today to go back into the jungle again. And I love taking technology to some of the most dangerous and difficult places in the world. Whether it be the moon, or whether it be the Amazon rainforest. I'll be working in Liberia, Africa, creating an app for agriculture. So technology can be a real blessing to people.
I do agree. With respect to Industrial Revolution 5 specifically, where the main approach is human-centered.
Yes.
The technology is important for human being.
Yes.
So we have to use this technology to facilitate human being, not to create danger for human being.
Yes.
So previously the profit was important. So now the human being is important with respect to that. With respect to Mars mission, the first Mars mission was not successful. The reason behind that, what I researched upon that, they did millions of experiments before launch. And in those millions of experiments, they found only one error, and they ignored that error. And ultimately during the mission, that error occurred and the vehicle destroyed.
Are you referring to U.S. or?
U.S. US
We do have successful
first Mars mission.
The first Mars mission, yes. Yes.
So
I think space, when you do exploration or scientific research in space, it's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Everything.
Even less than 50 chances,
think
but you learn basically.
I think that India went to the moon and failed the first time.
First time.
And they said, we failed because we didn't plan for failure. And they said the second mission, they planned for failure. So they had many backup systems within the spacecraft and landed successfully the second time.
For each failure mission, you have also success there.
You learn when you
learn
lose.
from
You learn when you lose. You learn when you fail.
Well,
And that's what's
we
important.
used to say that smooth flight, during smooth flight you don't learn.
Smooth.
Once your flight is not smooth, then you learn.
Smooth sailing does not make good sailors.
Yeah.
Smooth waters don't make good sailors. Only rough waters.
Troubles in water,
Yes.
distortion in water, provide you learning platforms, how to handle those distortions.
Yes.
So in space is also the same. Distortions are there. And once you face the distortion, then you learn how to tackle them in the future missions. Thank you, Alison, for visiting Special TV program. And we are hopeful that your learning process will fly you back to Russia, back to US and back to Pakistan.
I'll be back.
You will
It's been a
continue
real privilege to meet you and to be here today.
Yeah.
And God
Same
bless
here.
you, and God bless the amazing people of Pakistan.
And wish you best of luck for your future life.
Thank you so much.
नाज़रीन, प्रोग्राम का वक्त ख़त्म हो गया है। लर्निंग प्रोसेस जो होता है हमारा, वो आपके डिफरेंट रीजन्स में जब आप ट्रैवल करते हैं, स्टे करते हैं, तो उससे आप लर्न करते हैं। और ड्यूरिंग हमारी डिस्कशन भी ये चलती रही है कि स्मूथ लर्निंग में, स्मूथ फ्लाइट में आप लर्न नहीं करते जब तक आपकी लाइफ में हर्डल्स नहीं आएंगी। जितनी ज़्यादा हर्डल्स आती हैं उतना ही आप लर्न करते हैं। जैसे मैम एलिसन ने बताया कि उन्होंने किस एज में जाके मास्टर किया और किस तरह उन्होंने पहले अपनी लाइफ गुजारी। तो सक्सेसफुल आप किसी भी वक्त हो सकते हैं। योर डायरेक्शन शुड बी राइट। थैंक यू। अल्लाह हाफिज़।